If you stand where the city of Rawalpindi hums today, you might drive right past an unassuming mound of stones at Rawat. To a stranger passing by, it looks like a pile of forgotten rubble. But imagine stepping into a time machine and dialing the clock backward, 2 full millennia. The skyscrapers vanish. In their place are rolling green hills, a massive river, and a silence so deep you can hear the Earth's heartbeat. To understand how this bustling modern city reached its current state, we first have to uncover the silent ancient world buried directly beneath it. 2,000 years ago, this was a segment of the Great Silk Road, an unforgiving stretch of dust where caravans hauled spices across continents. King Kanishka ruled this territory. He commanded armies, but he also sought to be a peacemaker. He decided to construct a spiritual lighthouse to guide and protect travelers making the long trek from Taxila. This diagram shows a stupa, a solid, massive stone bowl turned upside down. Right in the center, sealed away, they placed a tiny treasure, perhaps a sacred scroll or a relic, buried deep within the masonry to bless the land. That massive structure acted as a permanent beacon. It was an architectural anchor designed strictly to project safety to travelers. Imagine surviving a dust storm for weeks and finally reaching the site. Monks in saffron robes would arrive here, seeking sanctuary from the harsh roads. This blueprint shows how they physically interacted with the architecture. They would perform circumambulation, walking around the monument in a continuous clockwise circle, keeping the stone to their right while whispering prayers. The walls they circled looked entirely different back then. The bare stones were once coated in smooth plaster and painted with stories of lions and lotus flowers. Seeing that shimmering dome and golden spine gleaming against the sky meant you had found safety. The space itself demanded slow, deliberate movement. The architecture functioned as a machine for meditation. But the world moved on. Trade routes shifted, the Silk Road faded, and the plaster eroded as centuries of wind and rain battered the stones. Eventually, a completely different group of people arrived, the fierce Gakhar tribe. When they stood on this high ground, they didn't see a place for reflection. They saw a perfect tactical vantage point to spot approaching enemies. This sequence displays how they repurposed the site. They built massive square outer defense walls directly around the ancient circular footprint, sealing the original stupa inside what became Rawat Fort. They piled heavy masonry into high battlements. These stones were cut and laid to stop arrows and block swords, rather than welcome travelers. Military engineering had shifted the site's function. A sanctuary built to welcome the world had been encased in a fortress designed to keep it out. Which brings us back to the ruins standing in Rawat today. This mound has watched the Pothohar Plateau change for 2,000 years, making it the eldest witness to history in the Rawalpindi region. This specific footprint of land, this exact arrangement of rocks, has survived 20 centuries of monsoons, shifting empires, and clashing swords. Rawat physically holds 2 entirely contradictory human drives. Our desire for peace and our need for war are both layered here in a single pile of stones. So which side of its history pulls you in more? The silent, meditative path of the monks, or the high, defensive walls of the warriors? Next time you drive past the fort, look toward the mount and give it a little nod. It has been waiting a long time to tell you its story. History rarely asks who originally laid the foundation. It watches how every generation that follows reshapes those same stones to fit the needs of their own era.